Hey, yo, it's four young kings just sitting and chilling because we rather count money instead of your opinions. Hey, don't forget to follow us on the platforms. Instagram, your opinion on count underscore YODC, Twitter at Y underscore ODC, Facebook and YouTube is opinion on count. Make sure if you're going on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, notification bell. Give us that support. We appreciate y'all. It's your opinion on count.
Alright, I guess this is another version of your opinion don't count slash like doing the whole shot of the week kind of stuff. Figure we in quarantine. I like to cook, so decided I might as well show y'all some stuff while I doing it, right? I decided to make some ribs. Y'all can see the ribs. I'm gonna make my dry rub from scratch. Gonna make my barbecue sauce from scratch. And y'all can see the process. I'm not gonna do it the traditional way. It ain't going on the grill. It's going in the oven at the end. That's because I'm gonna do it in a sous vide manner, whereas sous vide is cooking in fat, so to speak. So what it is, you basically vacuum seal your meat and put it into a water bath, a controlled temperature water bath over here that will cook it and keep it at the right temperature that you want it to be. And it'll cook it through the whole way. And one of the benefits of that is you get to control exactly how you want it. It's really good for steaks, chicken. You can make chicken breast without drying it out. And with ribs, you can cook it long enough that it's literally fall off the bone tender. So first thing I'm gonna do, like, a little bit of TV magic, a little bit of dry rub right here. Got your cayenne. Got some chili powder, you got some cumin, coriander, onion salt, garlic salt, got some brown sugar, thyme, oregano, and some dry mustard, right? So, some people have a small, I use in a blender. Some people have a smaller, spice maker, so you could use that, right? Shake it up, and let's get it blended. Now once it's blended, you got your spice rub right here. You want to prepare for steaks, so you get to see everything's all grinded up and mixed pretty well. Now when you're putting it on, sorry, I said steaks, I meant ribs. When you want to put it on your ribs, you want the ribs to be dried. So you take napkins, you pat dry it. I pre-did that, and all you do is just sprinkle it on and rub it in. Right? Now, in terms of the detox your mind stuff, in this quarantine, you get to notice online that how biased people are, what they think, and their stance on it, regardless of what the facts are. And I think that us as humans, we need to take some time and look at what it is we're actually listening to and what people are saying to us, and we should take it with a little bit of skepticism, regardless of who's saying it. Because a lot of times we like to hear people say, "Oh, this person is a professional, or he's an expert in this field." So if they are an expert in this field, you have experts that disagree with what they say. So I think that we should, as people, learn to say, you know what, let's take a step back and take a step back and analyze everything that's going on, and just not wholeheartedly believe what somebody say. You know, you got the people who are flat earthers. They take it to an extreme, whereas they disbelieve so much that they still think that the earth is flat. Now, that beeping you just heard, that's the sous vide getting up to the temperature that I wanted at, which is, for these I wanted at 145 degrees. And that's going to be at 145 degrees for a couple of hours, maybe about 6. And then after that, I'll take it out and brush it with some of the barbecue sauce and put it in the oven. But yeah, I think we need to just use our brain a little. I mean, we always hear the saying that common sense ain't so common. And I started thinking lately that maybe it is that common sense really ain't, what we call common sense really ain't common sense. Because we have so many people that go against what would be considered common sense. Or maybe there's no such thing as common sense. To say that we're all different people. We all have different beliefs. We all have different stances on various subjects. I seen a post on Facebook earlier this week where it said that, you know, you always hear everybody say we all in the same boat, so we should just calm down, relax, you know. But in that post it said we're not all in the same boat. We're all in the same storm, but in different boats. And they go further into the post and said, you know, in the situation that we're in, that you have people who are struggling to make money, so they want the economy to open up, because for them, I mean, it's literally, you know, being broke, they could get kicked out of their home, because there's nothing preventing people from doing that. Though you would hope that in this climate that people would have the humanity to understand it. But there are places that don't. Complexes where people live, you know, landlords, mortgage companies. I mean, it seems like the mortgage companies are going to help, but you have people who think that. Then you have people who have family members with underlying conditions that, you know, this disease would really affect them. And obviously for them, like, they don't want to see anything happen to their family member. And then you have people who still working, but getting paid less than they were normally getting paid, because whatever their job is, they were maybe on commission. So because people ain't buying, they don't have as much sales as they used to. Or people got furloughed, they ain't making a paycheck at all. So I think we all have to just take a little bit of time and say, you know, we can understand what you're going through. We may not agree with your stance, but we understand what you're going through, and we can sympathize and empathize with the person. But our stance could be different. But now, with all of this that's going on, my stance personally is, I think we should open up. I do think precautions need to be taken in place, because the longer we stay closed up, the longer people ain't going to be able to make money, which the longer it stands, it affects different people in a different way. If you ain't got no money, you can't pay rent, you can't buy food, and you could hope that people will be nice enough to help, but that's not something you can put your guarantee on. So it's my belief that we open up. We still recommend people that are high risk stay home. Still demand people that have the virus to stay quarantines, and we go from there. Now, with this, the next step, what we do, this is where the vacuum sealing comes into play. You put your ribs in the vacuum seal pouch, sous vide it. Right. Now, a while ago, sous vide machine would cost a hell of a lot of money. I know some people may not have this at home to regulate the temperature, but you could still use a water bath on your stove. You'd have to pay a bit more attention to it. But sous vide machines now, you could get them. They cost between $100 and $200. I seen one in Aldi the other day. It was like $40. I wouldn't recommend getting that. Now, personally, me, when I'm using sous vide, you need a little bit of fat in there. I like butter. Butter tastes better, in my opinion. So you put about a tablespoon a piece. And since we're doing ribs, you kind of want that, you know, charcoal on the grill type flavor. And that's where you get some liquid smoke. You don't want to put too much, but you go in, it's brown. So you go in, put a couple of drops, right? I have to give it that smoky flavor. Smell like barbecue. And then drop in the butter. Now time for the vacuum seal. Try to get it packed in there, you know. Because I have some baby back ribs and these some boneless ribs. I saw them, decided I wanted to try them. Because magic, same flavor and everything, and you ain't got to deal with the bones. Got a hell of a lot more meat. So now, get yourself a vacuum sealer. If you don't have a vacuum sealer, you could use like a Ziploc bag. And just use, you know, when you submerge it in the water, it'll push the air out, so it acts as a vacuum seal, right? And then just let it go. So now, with everything going on, I think we just try to understand the other person next to you. You may disagree, you may not like them, but just because you don't like them for whatever reason it may be, doesn't mean that you can't sympathize and empathize with that person. You know, we all humans, we all bleed, you know, we all shit, piss, eat, sleep, we do all of those. And the person next to you go through the same thing. None of us live in there forever. For us to have a better world, we should stand to try and understand the person next to us. So as I vacuum seal these, I'm gonna take a break. I'll be back. Ribs are sous vide, vacuum sealed, not sous vide, they're vacuum sealed. See all the spices, still a liquid inside rib, and vacuum seal and bring some of it out. So After that, all you gotta do is come here and pop them in. And what you do now is basically just wait. It's submerged in the water. It's gonna go ahead and cook. And it'll, depending on the meat, what you're cooking in the sous vide, it takes various amounts of time. These machines, they have apps with them. They'll give you recommended times, temperatures for what it is you want. Like me, I like to cook steaks in it. I like medium rare to medium steaks, and I could get a medium rare, medium steak every single time without fail. Now, getting ready for the barbecue sauce. Right, using onion. They're doing like a pineapple barbecue sauce. So now, when you're chopping up your onion, a lot of people, what they like to do, or what is taught in culinary schools, and the reason I know this is because I went to culinary school. When they go ahead and they teach you to chop up an onion, they want you to dice it up. And so what they try to tell you to do is give it some some horizontal cuts, like this, and then some straight down like that. Me? Nah, I don't cut it that way. If you look at an onion has its layers, right? And it's already a semicircle and it has these ridges. So I figure why not use what God already give us and just cut it at the angles. And so when I cut it, they'll already be diced up, just like so. Already diced. It's not uniform or anything like that, which you don't really care about when it comes to onions or presentation, because normally diced onions you're not going to see in a presentation. And that's what you got right there. Nice, quick, easy. And almost ready to go. So, right, for the barbecue sauce, what you need some tomato paste or ketchup. You need a sweetener. People use brown sugar, maple syrup. Some people use honey. I mean, you see it on all the barbecue sauces. They got honey barbecue sauce, hickory brown sugar, maple barbecue sauce, and all of them get it from the sweeteners. So, what you want to start off with, I'm doing it straight from scratch, tomato paste, rather than, I'm probably add a little bit of ketchup, but people who don't use tomato paste, they use a lot more ketchup. Now, for your dry seasonings, you want brown sugar. I guess brown sugar is kind of a little bit wet. Almost the same seasonings you want that I use for the ribs. Got your cayenne, your cumin, have some dry mustard, I add some oregano, some thyme, a little bit of Italian seasoning, red pepper flakes, chili powder, and then you got your wet ingredients. This got some spicy mustard, Worcester sauce. I put honey and maple syrup in there, so I'm doing both. And then liquid smoke again, to obviously give it the smoky hickory type feel. So now as the pot is heating up, I add a little bit of olive oil. A little bit of olive oil. Let me bring you guys with me. And this is how we're looking right here. So a little bit of olive oil, get it heated up. Add in your onions. And you want to render that down until they get translucent. And after that, as it's getting translucent, then you add in your spices, so spices could cook into that. And I'm gonna also use some Disaronno for also a little bit of flavor. So once this cooks down some more, right, add in your spices. So it gets real coated up in there. And add in your pineapple. You want to cook out some of that pineapple flavor. And after all this is done, it's going to go in the blender. So you don't have chunky barbecue sauce. Now, another thing we could do during this quarantine, like I notice not everybody reconnects with, you know, friends from the past or family members, or even takes time to better themselves. You know, a lot of people start binge watching TV, maybe watch a bunch of stuff on YouTube. You could use this time to, you know, open a book, read something you didn't read that you wanted to read, you know, connect with family and friends that you haven't spoken to in a while. You know, you've been given this time that, you know, maybe we all didn't want, but this time you've been given, you could utilize to get close to those that you lost that closeness with. So now you add in your tomato paste. Trying to get everything out of the can. You want to use it all. And you cook that down because you want the tomato paste to help not really burn, but it starts creating, you know, a little bit of char on the bottom. And this is where you use the rum. Excuse me. See, it's creating that little coating on the bottom. Now you're going to use the rum to loosen some of this up. But you're also using it to cook out some of this tomato pit, the strong tomato flavor. So, Disaronno. And now you get to, it removes all of that from the bottom. Get it right there into the sauce. And now, you add your liquids. Now, because this had honey in it, gotta scrape all the honey out. And then just let it cook and simmer. So, I guess we could do one of those TV things right now. While it's simmering, we're gonna let it take a break, and then we can come back to you when it's time to blend it up. So, the sauce been cooking for a little bit. Now it's time for us to throw it in the blender and let it simmer up some more. So, you get your blender, take your sauce, just pour it right on in. And you want to make sure you get all those little chunks of onion and pineapple and all the spices right in there. You're gonna put it right back in the same pot and let it continue to simmer. So, let's pop it on the blender. So, as you can see, you let it cook in there in the blender for a little bit. Get all the little pieces blended up in there. You see the color starts to change. Obviously that's due to the aeration of the blender. But after you get that going, you let that sit. You let it blend for a little bit. So you get everything incorporated in there fully. Now, another thing we could do as humans, yeah, I say that like I am a human, right? Another thing we could do as people who want to better this world, what we should do is show care to one another. Like, there's so many people out there being mean for no reason. You sit there in the comments online, people being mean for no reason. They hating on people for no reason. Just because what, that person doing better than you? Or that person is perceived to be doing better than you? Why should you be hating on them for that? Because they decide to work harder than you? They decide to... that's really good. They decide to take their money and put it into things that they want to do, be it prepare for the future, and you see them a couple years down the line have a nice house, nice car, or they decide they prefer to travel the world right now, so they take their money and hop on a plane, go to France, Australia, parts of Europe, parts of Asia, because that's what they want to do. But you hate on them for what? Because you can't, or because you're too scared to. I'm not scared to say just travel, but scared because you don't want to let go of that money that you have, or too lazy to. Maybe you don't want to go and work more hours, pick up a second job, or just take some time to do what it takes to better yourself so you can get an increase in pay. I think people worry about too much what other people say or do. And for what? When it has no impact on your life. I think we all need to worry about ourselves. And when I say that, I don't mean not to care for other people, not to show love, compassion, to give to other people. That's not what I mean. When I say worry about ourselves, it's not anybody else's job to watch out for you. It's not anybody else's job to take care of you. And I'm talking about adults. Obviously, if there's a child, it's the parent's job to take care of the child. Clothe, feed, house the child, right? Educate the child, nurture the child. And when people get old to a point, hopefully your parents took care of you well enough and prepared you for life down the road that now you show them the love and respect that you do have for them, and you take care of them in their older age rather than sticking them into old folks home if they are unable to take care of themselves. So what I mean by we need to worry about ourselves is that it isn't the government job to pay your rent. It isn't the government job to put food on your table. It isn't the government job to take care of you of any form of fashion. It's the government's job to provide those services to allow for a free market society to flourish. And what those services are: police force, firefighters, infrastructure, roads, highways, things like that. But especially with this quarantine, and I understand why the government is stepping in, mostly because it's their fault. If they stop you from making money, I mean, they got to put some money in your pocket. But what I've seen is a lot of people come out and now they're looking for so many things from the government. And I also I seen a meme somebody posted, says, was it really a booming economy if 80% of the country is 2 paychecks away from homelessness or being poor, or however it was worded? First, a booming economy does nothing or says nothing about the behavior of a person. It isn't, if we have a booming economy or not, you not being prepared for the future is your own fault. You know, we need to take time, we need to save, prepare ourselves. This is what I mean by taking care of ourselves. Take care of yourself. Put savings aside for times like this, when things like this happen, when you may not be able to work. It may not be a global pandemic, but it might be you lose your job and it's hard for you to find one. Or you get injured and you have to be out of work for a while. And so therefore you're getting, workers' comp will pay you something, but it may not cover all your bills. So what we need to do is focus on ourselves, take care of ourselves, take care of our loved ones, and do what we got to do to take care of them. Work harder, work smarter. Sometimes it may mean working longer. You know, get yourself out of debt. Prepare yourself that when things like this happen, that if I'm out of debt, I don't have to worry about paying anybody except food, shelter, clothing. I need to make sure that those are covered. And after that, then transportation. You make sure those are covered, and then you could use whatever extra you have for whatever else you want. But make sure those are covered and everything will be good. Now, the rib's gonna take a couple of hours before they're done. And when they're done, then I'm gonna sauce it, put it in the oven for maybe another hour or so, and then I'll, finish the video up with a shot of how it looks. But I hope all of you understand these things that I'm saying. Like, we gotta be better as a society to people. We gotta stop being selfish. And I understand that may sound like a contradiction after I just said, hey, take care of yourself. But it's really not, because you can't take care of anybody else until you're able to take care of yourself. You know, whenever you're on a plane and they say, hey, in case of emergency, when the oxygen mask drop from the roof, they say, don't worry about nobody else. Put your own mask on first. That's because if you're dead, you can't help nobody else. If you broke, you can't help nobody else. If you're homeless, you can't help nobody else. So make your money, buy a house, if that's what you're into, but save and be prepared for the future. If you rent, be prepared that, hey, if things like this happen, you have the money to afford your lifestyle for a couple of months. And then you can use your extra to help others, to focus on some of these programs and efforts that it is you want to succeed. So I'll see y'all when the ribs are done. So the ribs have been in the oven, cooking with the barbecue sauce. In the meantime, I threw in some potatoes, had some corn going. People like to have various sides with their ribs. I like potatoes, I like corn. Some people like coleslaw, potato salad, baked beans. That's cool, but it's all up to what your palate is for. Depends on what it is you like to eat. So don't let that Don't let what I'm cooking be a decision for you, if you even decide to make ribs in the first place. So, I did some roasted potatoes with some herbs, salt, pepper, thyme, oregano, some basil, dusted with some olive oil, and we baked it. So, here we go with the ribs. Go. Damn, that's hot. Woo. Get a bit of bone. Now, I was saying earlier about we need to take care of ourselves. Another thing people seem to think how the government's supposed to take care of us. Government ain't our daddy. Right? If we continue the way we going and we run out of and nobody's making money, then the government can't make money. You know why? Because ain't nobody making money for the government to tax. With that being said, whew, with that being said, we need to know we need to again continue to take care of ourselves. Take care of ourselves. Do what's best for each other. Take care of the ones around us who need help. So, slide this off to the side. Here you have it. And here we go. A little bit of corn. Some butter. Ooh. Come on, stay. I don't know how they get to do this on TV shows. They put the stick of butter and the butter always stays. And there you have it, folks. Sous vide ribs, homemade barbecue sauce. Again, take time to show your loved ones you love them. Help people when you can. And take care of yourself first before you help anybody else.